Definitely a lot of stuff in the boat. Looks like he might be dumping some more stuff here. Yep, one. Mark this deposit 0922.
We are embedded with a group of guys who care. They have kids and families and want them to be free of the scourge of illegal drugs. Every few weeks, they get a chance to take to the skies aboard these special P-3 Orion aircraft to search out and stop smugglers from getting their illegal cargo into the U.S. And just like hunting or fishing, sometimes you make the catch, sometimes you don't. But because of the sophisticated gear we have on board, the odds are with us. On the very first day, within the first 30 minutes, our radar and cameras spot this small boat with lots of engine power speeding across the open sea about 50 miles off the coast of Panama. A closer look reveals no fishing gear and no logical reason for the boat to be here. When the crew eventually sees and hears our plane, they take desperate action. They start dumping large packages of what turns out to be pure cocaine and some marijuana, 120 bales in all. And then they take off. The question becomes, do we chase the bad guys or stay with the drugs and prevent their friends from retrieving that contraband? The orders come in, we stay with the drugs. A Coast Guard cutter would be there in 3 hours to pick up the bales one by one. The boat captain will no doubt have some explaining to do when he gets into port. This was a good day, and there have been many of these good days for these federal agents from Corpus Christi. Just during the month of June, they successfully stopped more than 29,000 pounds of cocaine from getting into the U.S.
We don't like to think of the border as our first line of defense. We want that to be our last line of defense.
Aboard our plane, 10 to 12 guys who start each day confident that they are making a positive difference.
Excuse me, the reality of working in a small tube for 8 to 10 hours a day, sometimes even longer than that, is that you have to learn how to get along and not get on each other's nerves. That can take some doing.
It is a challenge getting everybody to meld, everybody to get along for 8-10 hours a day for a week at a time. But what we have here is a group of professionals. They really put the job first and they set aside any personal differences.
So far, this has been a slower day. But then about 7 hours in, the team finds a small go-fast. No drugs are visible, but there's no fishing gear either. He's been starting and stopping for long periods, using up expensive fuel. In the opinion of these experts, the vessel is clearly up to no good. Costa Rica authorities are called in. They do a routine check for arms and drugs, but ultimately they have to let the crew go. Detachments like this routinely take these Corpus Christi residents all over the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean. As for where these guys get to stay on their detachments or debts, well, there's some pretty exotic places, like here in Costa Rica, there's Panama, there's Curacao, and some others. But honestly, they don't get to use these amenities very often. Our final day of hunting takes us into the Caribbean just north of Panama, starting off slowly, with the crew finding creative ways to pass the time. Crosswords, eating, taking advantage of their functional kitchenette on board, catching up on paperwork, and sleeping, all popular options. But after several hours, they see something worth checking out. A small panga that appears to be stalled in the sea about 90 miles offshore. It appears to be in distress. Moving in closer, we see the 3 people on board frantically waving at us, trying to get our attention. We do a close-up flyby to get a better look and let them know that they have been spotted. Turns out this vessel had been reported missing 4 days ago. The 3 people on board were lucky to be alive. We would later learn they'd been fishing, but their catch spoiled 3 days ago and they had to throw it overboard. They had given up all hope until we came along. We contacted a U.S. Coast Guard cutter, which sent out a helo and a recovery team to complete the rescue. And this picture, worth more than 1,000 words, tells their story of gratitude.